Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about choosing or picking a stock. In our last video, we basically had a general discussion of the stock market and some of the key elements that make it up. So this video, we're going to answer a question I often get, well, how do you pick a stock? I'm going to outline 4 elements to help you become successful at picking a stock that will earn you money. Now, disclaimer, I'm not providing any sort of financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. So let's dive in. Point number 1, find a company that's close to what you do. This is picking a sector that's relatable. What does that mean? For example, if you are a nurse practitioner, you're a nurse, okay? It may not be a bad idea to pick a stock that's in the healthcare sector. If you work in IT, okay, it may not be a bad idea to pick a stock that's in the high-tech sector. See the pattern, see the trend? Again, why is that relevant? Oftentimes, if you are close to a sector, you have inside knowledge to industry trends, things that are relevant to that particular industry that might not be common knowledge to everybody else. Trust me, this is helpful. It's relevant. Number 2, which probably should be number 1, is do your homework. Doing the homework is probably the hardest part, most important part, and unfortunately that's the part that people don't know how to do, and because of that they lose tons of money. And let's talk about that. Doing the research. Once you find a stock that's maybe it's in a sector that you're familiar with, first step is understanding, well, how do I do the research? Well, there are 3 elements you want to understand. First, let's talk about equitability, okay? Equity, profitability. Let's just use the term profitability. You want a company that's making money. The company's ability to make money, earn money, is directly proportional. It's aligned, guys, with the stock price. Per se, if a company has positive earnings, you typically will see the stock price going up. If a company has negative earnings, they're losing money, typically the stock price is going in the opposite direction. It's going down. Now, what this means is you need to understand the state of the company, its financial state. Start with the SEC filings. Understand the 10K, understand the 10Q, understand the 8K. Guys, if I'm using terms that you are not familiar with, you've never opened up, but you're buying and trading stocks right now, stop. Regather your positions and take a look at a company. Yes, I understand maybe you're day trading, but if you're in this thing for the long haul, you need to understand, what's called the true value of a stock. Because at the end of the day, your goal is to buy a stock and outlast the dip. What does that mean? Outlasting the dip. What I'm saying, guys, is that a stock price will rise and it will fall. And sometimes that fall, it's steep. And if you're buying at a price because you want to buy low as low as you can get the stock price, and you want to see that stock price rise. But again, if you're not buying at a price where you can basically withstand the dip, so as the stock price comes down, you don't want to sell off every time there's a panic. You need to have a price that makes sense. What I'm going to talk about is how we get there. Understanding the company's assets, money that's coming in. Understanding the company's liabilities, money that's going out. Understanding, what's the volume or shares outstanding. And doing some very simple math that will give you at least the book value price, which is a stock price. If we can contrast, we can compare that to the listing price of a stock. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to understand if the listing price of the stock is either overvalued or undervalued. we want to buy stocks that are undervalued. We don't want to buy stocks that are overvalued. We'll also talk about something called intrinsic value, where we're going to also consider future earnings, money that we know is going to hit the books at a later date, maybe next quarter. Okay, and then contrasting the intrinsic value of a stock price to the listing price. Now, going back, to the 8Ks and 10Ks, I mentioned the 10K being the annual snapshot of the company, the expenses, liabilities, and all those things that are very detailed. You have the quarterly report, which is the 10Q, which is the rationale behind the Q. Now, another important filing to look at is the 8K. Do you think it's relevant to know that a CEO is stepping down this quarter or next quarter? Will that impact the stock price? Absolutely. So you want to take a look at the 8K. Is the CEO offloading, a block of shares? These things are relevant, but it's all part of the research. So let's take a deep dive here and start with some research so you guys can become very informed investors. So let's pick a company. I'm going to pick Apple.